Monopolies, a term that sends shivers down the spine of any free market advocate. But what if I told you that the very entity often tasked with regulating and breaking up monopolies, the government, is the one responsible for creating them? Today, we're going to explore the hidden hand of the state in fostering monopolies and why this is a serious problem from a libertarian perspective. To understand how governments create monopolies, we first need to define what a monopoly is. In its purest form, a monopoly occurs when a single entity dominates an industry, often leading to reduced competition and innovation. While critics of free markets often blame unregulated capitalism for monopolies, libertarians argue that true monopolies rarely occur without state intervention. Let's break it down. Monopolies can generally be categorized into two types: natural monopolies and state-created monopolies. Natural monopolies occur in specific industries where high upfront costs or unique circumstances make it inefficient for multiple players to compete. Think utilities like water and electricity. However, even in these cases, free market mechanisms can often address inefficiencies. But state-created monopolies? That's a whole different story. These arise when governments actively or indirectly limit competition, often under the guise of regulation or public interest. That's where the real problem begins. Historically, governments have played a direct role in creating monopolies. Take the British East India Company, for example. It was granted a monopoly in trade by the British Crown, giving it the exclusive rights to operate in vast territories. The result? Exploitation, corruption, and stifled competition. But this isn't just history. Today, governments continue to create monopolies through several mechanisms. Let's examine a few key methods. First, we have regulatory capture. This occurs when large corporations influence government agencies to create rules that favor established players while locking out smaller competitors. For instance, stringent licensing requirements or compliance costs may seem like measures to protect consumers, but they often disproportionately hurt startups and small businesses. Let's say you want to open a taxi company. In many cities, you'd need to purchase a medallion or license that can cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. Established taxi companies lobbied for these rules, ensuring they face little competition from new entrants. Meanwhile, companies like Uber and Lyft have had to fight tooth and nail against regulations designed to preserve these monopolies. Next up, bailouts and subsidies. When governments pick winners and losers, they distort the free market. Large corporations that receive taxpayer-funded bailouts during economic downturns gain an unfair advantage over smaller competitors. In 2008, for example, banks deemed too big to fail were bailed out, while smaller financial institutions were left to fend for themselves. These bailouts didn't just serve the big banks, they made them bigger. Post-crisis, the market share of large banks increased significantly, further consolidating their power. Then we have intellectual property laws. While patents are intended to encourage innovation, they're often used to stifle competition. Large corporations with extensive legal teams can secure broad patents and engage in endless litigation to prevent smaller players from entering the market. I will do a full video on intellectual property law soon. Take the pharmaceutical industry. Patents grant companies exclusive rights to produce and sell drugs for decades. While this incentivizes innovation, it also leads to high prices and limited access for consumers. So what's the libertarian critique? It's simple. Government intervention often creates the very monopolies it claims to prevent. By distorting market forces, limiting competition, and propping up failed businesses, governments hinder the free market's ability to self-regulate. In a truly free market, monopolies are difficult to sustain. Without government protection, any company that exploits its consumers creates opportunities for competitors to step in. Competition keeps prices low, quality high, and innovation alive. Think about it. If one company overcharges or provides poor service, customers will naturally gravitate towards alternatives. It's the beauty of choice. So, how do we address this issue? Libertarians advocate for reducing government interference in the market. This means eliminating subsidies, simplifying regulations and ensuring that laws don't favor one group over another. By creating a level playing field, we empower entrepreneurs to compete and innovate, ultimately benefiting consumers. Next time you hear someone blame capitalism for monopolies, remember, the invisible hand of the market isn't a problem, it's the very visible hand of the state. If we truly want a world of free markets and innovation, we need to rethink the government's role in the economy or cut it out entirely. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to join the conversation in the comments below.